Hello, hello. And today I am just going to invite you to grab your sketchbook. Um, I have a bunch of different kind of sketchbooks. I usually go with whatever sketchbook is a decent mixed media paper, and by decent I usually go 70 or 80 pound paper. It will tell you what, here's a perfect example. Let's see. So this is 80-pound paper. I actually recently discovered the Master's Touch sketchbooks at the 80-pound. They're a Hobby Lobby. It's a Hobby Lobby brand. Oh my gosh. The cool thing about this paper is that you can get these dual tip markers. I actually got these on Amazon. I think they were less than 15 bucks. 60 different colors. There's a brush tip and a fine tip. Anyway, with this sketchbook, I have found that these become very nice watercolor markers, meaning I can mark and then use water to come back in and it will create watercolor. So awesome. But I also have been using the Reflections, I think, which is either Dick Blick or Jerry's Artorama, maybe both. Anyway, it's a good paper, but I have also found that it is not as watercolory. The paper doesn't allow the marker and the watercolor to spread quite as well as would, let's say, this one. So the cool thing is the Master's Touch at Hobby Lobby does tend to go on sale for 50% off. Then they're very affordable. So keep an eye out for that. But also the Strathmore visual journal is great. You can find that blick.com, jerrysartorama.com, Amazon. But yeah, so today what we're doing is we're just grabbing our sketchbook. Sorry, I should probably make a separate video just for different sketchbooks, and I'm happy to do that. If that's something you're interested in, just let me know. But today I want to, I don't know if it's probably the new moon energy, just like getting started and being just so open and anyway, just really wanting to just go and do things and be amazing and, just share the energy and the love. So anyway, today we're just gonna, I've heard what I love about sharing is then you hear how other people feel about themselves, which is cool. But what I have found is that I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, well, but I'm just not blank. I'm just not duh. Well, today we're gonna just see where we go. I would like to, so this is one of my sketchbooks. And I'm just going to invite you today we're going to start making some marks. And what I would like, ta-da, we're just going to make marks. And I'm going to tell you, we're going to get there and it's going to be amazing. Okay? Right? So first things first, get to an open page. I am, or a page that you're just like, no, I think this has the energy that needs to be covered or whatnot. I'm actually going to use this one so that you can kind of see what happens. It's really fun. So I'm going to be using some acrylic paint today, And actually, I'm going to go ahead and I will use, I wish I were sponsored, but I am not currently sponsored by Angelus Leather Paint. I love it. I live by it. It's been the paint that I have almost exclusively used since 2008, maybe. I absolutely love it. I don't know if I'm their biggest fan, but it feels like I'm their biggest fan. But I don't want you to feel like you have to run out and grab leather paint. I will say that being a thrifty shopper, I feel like price per ounce, though it is more expensive, I think the ounce goes further. So if you need that, that's right there. But I'm actually going to use today, I've been trying out very inexpensive paints to see how they work, both with paper and canvas and process paintings and such. So today I will use, just to show you, some Anita's all-purpose acrylic craft paint. I think these are like 87 cents retail price for 2 ounces at Hobby Lobby. They were on sale 30% off. So I got them for around 50 some cents a bottle. So anyway, basically what we're going to do today, again, I will also probably create another video that talks about paint. But what I encourage you to do today is we're just going to go ahead and grab a couple colors. So I've got, well, let's see. I've got Island Green, Stormy Blue. Come on, how can you not love that name? And look at this color, right? It's like a gray blue. Love it. I'm going to throw in some Buttercup Yellow. And literally, I'm just kind of finding space. And then I'll show you. So you can see kind of how much paint that is, right? Okay. Now, we're just going to flip our page over. And then you see how you can kind of see the paint? This is perfect. So you can either take the side of your hand, you can take a credit card, or in this case, a AAA card. And then basically what I want you to do is just like put pressure down. Be careful that your pressure isn't, how do I want to say this? Depending on how long the paint sits on the paper, it's going to get softer. The paper fibers are going to get softer, and the risk of tearing is there. It's a real risk. Hopefully it won't happen. But you see how with the, I'm using a lot of pressure. But it's definitely at an angle, and I'm kind of feeling the fibers. You see how the paint is spreading? I would just recommend being careful by the edges. Obviously, it's fun to go off the edge, but in the event of a sketchbook, oops, sorry guys. In the event of a sketchbook, it does tend to lead to edges that are stuck together, which is totally fine. It's very easy to separate after it's dry. It's, you know, it's not that big of a deal, but, you know, just something to think about. Okay, so I'm doing my best to spread this throughout the page. And so I'm kind of feeling some resistance for the paper. So I'm going to go ahead and just open it from starting here. Okay, cool, great, fantastic background color. Okay, so down here we have paint left over. So I'm just going to take my handy dandy little card, and we're just going to start making marks. So I'm going to pick up this paint just on the edge of this card. Okay, literally we're just making marks. So we're just trying to cover the paper. You know, it doesn't have to be completely covered, but we're gonna just do what we feel. Okay, so this mark is being made, I'm putting my card down, but then kind of rotating it on this back corner kind of creates like a windmill, or if you do it short little bursts, it can be kind of like a sun or a flower. Okay, see that? Okay. And so the coverage was pretty good with that amount of paint, right? So we'll come over here and we'll choose something different. So let's say we have, well, let's get some cardboard. Okay, so I just tore a little bit of cardboard off of a Amazon box, go figure. Okay, so that. So we're gonna go ahead. It should probably be brushed, but I'm gonna start by just putting a line of paint like that. We'll see what happens. Because this is just experimenting. We don't have to do anything perfect right now. We're covering our page, interestingly enough, with color. And this is gonna hopefully let your right brain take over, and your left brain isn't gonna worry about why we're doing it and what we're doing and what's the point and what are we trying to make and yada yada. Okay. All right. So I still have a little bit of wet paint down here. So I'm going to go ahead and just pick some of that color up. I'm going to come back with the credit card and just smooth out some of this leftover paint. Okay. And that's it. Basically, I just, you can also go ahead and grab your, like a cap. So if you have, let me see what other caps I have around here. Okay, this, perfect example. Okay, this is a Lay's potato chip. So I'm gonna go ahead and wet my brush a little bit. I'm gonna grab a little bit of paint. And this one might be interesting because it's a pretty thin lid, but we'll see. Again, we're just experimenting, seeing what we like, seeing what does something cool that we want to replicate. I need a little bit more paint to go all the way to this edge. Okay. And then I'm going to just twist it a little bit. Okay. We get our nice little circles. I'm going to use, just kind of see what you feel. Like all of a sudden I was going, I kind of want to use this dark blue again because this is kind of looking light. Okay, great. So grab the dark blue. Okay. So I'm just kind of wiping the brush along this edge. Cool, right? Okay, mark making. All right, how about some bubble wrap? gonna go ahead and use maybe a different color. Maybe a different color entirely. So let's do different color entirely. So red. Okay. I'm not painting necessarily anything specific, but I tend to like it to be not so perfect. So I kind of go a little bit sporadic. I don't come, okay, this line, this line, this line. If you want it more organized, go ahead and paint just a couple lines square, but I kind of like to go crazy. And then basically I just flip it, and however it falls is where I put it. Cool, right? Okay, so go ahead and grab some more paint. Okay, getting the hang of it. I oftentimes like to go off the edge of my paper if you have the space to do so. But I would say, you know, just be mindful about the borders. I can't tell you how many times I've painted my computer, which is fine, but, you know, if you have grandma's tablecloth, maybe be careful making marks on or near it. Okay, so I really like what's happening here. Okay. And you just keep going and going and going, and that is the cool thing about making marks, is you just make marks. So let's say you have a stencil. Okay. So we'll go ahead. I don't know what color to make that. Let's just make it yellow. Let's see where we're at. I have gotten these a cool little, the sponge dabbers. I was having trouble with stencils. I know it sounds crazy. Maybe it sounds like, oh yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. But I really set myself up for success on stencils and got these flat dabber things. I think I've used way too much yellow, so I'm just gonna go ahead and dab some off right here. Okay, so let's say you have some stencils. I will also say that Angela's paint is very fluid. It's very thin. The pigment is rich, but the paint itself is thin, so that might also be to my detriment when coming to use stencils. This is like a heavier body. Means it's like thicker paint. Whoops, sorry about that. Okay. Cool, right? Kind of like ghosting in there. So I'm gonna do that same thing up here. I'm just gonna use this paint that I dabbed off. If you don't have stencils, I mean, honestly, just look around. The bubble wrap is cool. I'll take us through using the little trays that you get, like meat packages, like chicken or whatnot. And we'll make our own little, oh, see? And how cool is this? Like, it's honestly almost exactly that size. So because that's a thing, I'm going to go ahead and do that down here. And I'm going to switch to this darker paint. And just let synchronicities like this, just, you know, let the magic be exciting and follow it or don't follow it or whatever you want to do. Yeah, that's pretty neat. I'm also, like I said, I really like going off the page. So I'm probably gonna just do this one off the page a little bit. I didn't even clean this, so it's kind of like a mossy green. Anyway, so we're just keep going, right? Just make marks, make marks, make marks. Fill the page. Don't worry about if you don't like something or, you know, whatever, then I would definitely give yourself and your painting some time to, a lot of times I find that if people walk away, when they come back is when they can really look at it and see it for what it is and the beauty that's in it. But if you're like desperately like, oh, there's this big red blob and I don't like it. If it's a blob, please bring your paper back over. That would be fun. If you're like super happy with what's going on here and you don't want to dab it, then use another piece of either cardboard or paper or use that credit card to swipe it. You know, there's so many things that you can do. But this is just the opening little, hey, let's make some marks. I promise you're going to feel better after. You're going to go, oh yeah, that was fun. You know, even if it's 15 minutes, just give yourself some time to make some marks. I am going to let this dry a little bit. You can hit it with a hairdryer if you want to speed up the process. But for now, I'm just going to let it be what it is. I have plenty of space to dry stuff, and I don't have pets or children in the house at the moment, so everything is safe right where it is. It stays. So you can definitely, like, if you wanted to, you could start if you see something cool. But you definitely do not have to see something at this point. It's just kind of fun. But I am kind of seeing this like shark. Or maybe an orca. Back half, front half, whatnot. I did see a dolphin at the beginning. Like I kind of saw the like jumping dolphin, which was fun. So, well, we never know where it's going to go. But this is just a good base for mark making. For me personally, there's quite a bit of white left still. So I may come back in here and add more color and keep going. If you're like super into this and you're just really excited and you're just going, okay, what else can I get that's going to make this fun? Might I suggest modeling paste? It doesn't have to be this brand, but modeling paste is just a thicker, it's like a thickening, like a body thickening. It basically creates texture, thickness, it hardens. So especially cool for stencils because you can mix a color of paint and do a color stencil, or you can just use it straight out of the container and it's kind of like a white and then it dries a little, it fades, the white fades a little bit to whatever color is behind it. So like this one, for example, is kind of a little bit coppery brown. Whereas this one's more of like the blue, pink, purple. Anyway, so, and the perfect example of like the full coverage. This one I really, you know, I covered quite a bit before going in. But like I said, this is just, it's whatever you feel. But definitely the more paint you slosh around, the more opportunities you have. But this is a great start, you know, and even if you don't have any desire to really do something specific, I recommend just creating a couple of these double page spreads. If you want, it can just be a single page. If you're, you know, if you're worried that you may mess something up, you know, then just do a one page, and then you can write about how you feel on the back page, or you can write about how you feel on this side when this comes to fruition, all of that. But I've been creating double page spreads, and then I leave these open so that I can see the paint come through. And then, you know, once these two are kind of complete, I may see if I come back in here. But anyway, so that's it for today. Basically just mark making with Maisha. Anyway, I'd love to hear what you think. I'd love to see what you've done. Go ahead and shoot me a text or an email or leave a comment or whatnot. And yeah, I'll see you next time. I'm awesome. You're awesome. Let's be awesome together.